Hey everybody, it's Kalymnios here from thethoughtgym.com, here helping you become the superhuman leader I know that you can be, giving you everything that you need to help you take your life to that next new level. And this video is about some favourite things of mine for August. I'm going to share with you 5 things that I use that improve my life in some little way and may help improve yours too. So let's crack on with the first one. Number 1, I've got these. These are called soap nuts, and before I tell you exactly what they are, quite funnily, I actually bought them from someone that I knew 25 years ago, and I saw them at an event. We got talking about this and I didn't actually even recognise that it was that person, and we were like kind of best friends on this summer camp back in 1992, I think it was. So it was quite funny, but anyway, he recognised my voice, I think it was, in the end. And he is selling these things at the moment, soap nuts. What are soap nuts? Soap nuts are these little things. These are natural nuts which you put in a little bag like this, and you put about 4 of them in, and you tie it up like this, and you shove them into your washing machine instead of using all the horrible chemical liquid washing stuff that you get out there. You put these in and it cleans it for you, and you can use these about 4 times before you then put another one. So these were about, I think, 10-15 quid, I can't remember how much, but you get 480 washes out of it. So for me, I just do my washing maybe once a week, possibly twice a week. It's a long amount of time that I'm going to get use out of this. So it helps prevent using horrible harsh chemicals. Is it as good as those? So far so good for me. I mean, I'm not rolling around in the mud too much, but I haven't had any complaints. So I would recommend avoid the chemicals in your system if you possibly can. Pick up some soap nuts and see how it goes. Worthwhile investment. Number 2 on my list is this. If I can lift it up, it's pretty heavy. Can you see that? This is my Kuvings whole press juicer. I think it's called that because it's got a wide chute so you can put a whole apple in there. And for those of you that follow me quite a bit, you know that I'm into my juicing, I'm into my smoothies, and recently, well, last November, upgraded to a cold press juicer. I used to have a centrifugal one. There are differences around juicing which you can find out in the video I did on juicing, but this little beauty I love because on those occasions that I do need to make a juice for the following day, it definitely keeps a lot better than the centrifugal one I had. It's a lot easier as well to kind of collect all the pulp, so all of the juice comes out of this thing, and you can put a stopper here so that you can not have the drip onto the bench, and then all of the pulp comes out here, which you can then put back in again if you feel it's too wet. But usually this does quite a good job of extracting it, and then you take it apart and you empty this and clean it really. So it's pretty punchy in terms of what it can do, and it's pretty punchy in terms of how much it costs. But if you are into your juicing and you're looking for a juicer, I've got to say I'm pretty happy with this. And like I say, juicing, you get all those nutrients straight into your bloodstream. You cannot possibly eat so many vegetables, but you're pulling out all the nutrients that you need. And it doesn't say that you don't eat your vegetables, or you don't do smoothies as well, but juicing for me is definitely an essential each day. If you want to feel superhuman, I'm telling you, you want to start juicing. Start with the best juicer you can afford, the one that's the easiest to clean for you, and go from there. And eventually, and I was juicing for 4 years before I actually upgraded to this one. So get what you can, start where you are, and get juicing. Alright, number 3 on my list are these. These dirty looking things are my Barefoot Trainers. And the reason I like these, and I'm asking you to maybe think about getting yourself something similar, is because they are effectively like barefoot running trainers. So they have very thin soles, no heel arch up here, which is a big problem these days because a lot of our posture is affected from these elevated shoes, shortening our Achilles tendon really, and creating more injuries than they are claiming to solve. And you're probably familiar with this idea of barefoot running and barefoot walking as it's becoming a bit more popular. And the thing is, most shoes are so narrow, at least definitely for me, they don't give you the option to really spread your feet. Wearing these just feels like you're walking around barefoot. Your feet can splay out wide. Your toes should be widest part of your foot, and usually they're not because they're crunched in. And our feet are so important for, well, obviously for getting around, but balance and everything else. But there are more nerve endings per square inch in your foot than there are, I think, anywhere else. I think it was like 1300 I read in the book that I recommended earlier in the month, the world's greatest health discovery, Earthing. So I really recommend getting, well, firstly being barefoot as much as possible anyway, but if you're out and about, maybe investing in some barefoot style trainers, if not to wear all the time, just some of the time at least, just to give your feet a bit of freedom. So these ones are called Vivo Barefoot. There's plenty of others, I'm sure you can check them out online, but worthwhile investment in my opinion. Alright, number 4 on my list of things for August are these things. This and this strap, and there's actually something else which I couldn't pull off, but what the hell are these things? If you watched my video of the month on my book of the month last couple of weeks ago, you'll know that I was talking about a book called Earthing, or grounding. This idea that by being in contact with the earth gives you the negative ions, the free negative ions that are floating around the surface of the earth that we need in order to neutralize all the free radicals, the positive free radicals. Basically, it's a natural antioxidant, helps improve your sleep, reduce inflammation, reduce stress and cortisol levels, generally aids your health by being in contact with the ground. That being said, we can't always be in contact with the ground, but what these clever little devices do is they have these little hooks here. Where are the hooks? Here we go. On this side here, there's a little button there, you plug in a wire into that, which then goes into the earthing port, the grounding port of your house. So provided your house actually makes use of that grounding port and it is directly in contact with the earth, you can get a similar effect by literally plugging this in. So this is a mat that just goes underneath my feet when I'm working, so at the desk, and it also has reputed benefits in terms of EMFs and working in front of the computer because you're being earthed to the ground. This is a strap that you put on a site of injury. So last year you may remember that I got injured quite badly on my knee, and I actually bought this and I did a few experiments with it, and call it placebo, call it whatever, I don't know. When I was wearing this, when I was sleeping or when I was at my desk, my knee felt a hell of a lot better than when I didn't, and I made a note of it because I wanted to test whether that was the case. Now I can't tell for sure because it's an n=1 experiment whether it had an effect, but certainly the science that's coming out shows that grounding yourself with straps, with this, and the other thing I have is a grounding sheet, so it's a bed sheet that you just sleep on each night, and I've got to say, since sleeping in one of those, I have really deep sleep, vivid dreams. I'm more likely to sleep all the way through the night than I ever have done before, and I feel very much more rested. So there are plenty of grounding products. I think there's grounding shoes as well with little copper plates on the bottom, but the ones I've tested have been the mat, this, and again the mat I actually once wrapped around my back when I had a bad back and I felt it was helping. So and the third one being the sheet. So do investigate getting some of these things. If you're a bit skeptical, please do read the book that I recommended earlier in the month, and check out the science. Just put the word grounding or earthing into Google with a specific condition, inflammation, arthritis, whatever, and add the word PubMed or something like that, which will give you some kind of medical journals or medical papers around it. So do check out that. That is my 4th thing of the month. And my 5th and final thing for this month is an app. So following suit, a little bit of a technology one. It is called HAPPYCOW. So it's a website, happycow.net, or it's an app called HAPPYCOW, which is how I use it. And for me, it is a godsend, especially when I'm abroad. So you may recall recently I was cycling in Europe. I spent 4 days cycling 500 kilometers from Luxembourg down to Basel, so into France, into Nancy, across to Strasbourg, into Germany, Freiburg in Germany, and then down to Switzerland. And each time, whenever I got to a city or a town that I was staying the night in, I'd use the HAPPYCOW app, because what that does is it looks for restaurants nearby with certain cuisines. So you can, and now I eat, although I don't label myself as such, a vegan diet. And so I would look for vegan or vegetarian or veg friendly. There's different options there, and I would look for the hotels, and I would find restaurants that, even if they weren't vegan or vegetarian, had more options for me. And you can use this in London. All major cities will have some input into this app. It's a little bit harder to find places in remote places when I've gone cycling before, but I've got to say happycow.net online or HAPPYCOW app, even if you're a meat eater but you fancy some good food, usually these restaurants do put the extra effort in. It's worth checking out. So that was my fifth and final one, the HAPPYCOW app. So in summary, number one were the soap nuts, a natural alternative to chemical gunk that you might put in your washing. Number two was the juicer that we have for juicing our vegetables primarily rather than fruits. Number three were the barefoot style running trainers to give that freedom to your feet to operate as they are meant to. Number four were the grounding mats, the grounding straps, the grounding sheets. And finally, number five was a HAPPYCOW app. All of these things, I believe, contribute to my life in some positive way, help me feel superhuman, and I think they'll do the same for you. So let me know what you think. Have you heard of any of these things? Are you skeptical about some of these things? Do you want to try some of them? What are your thoughts? Comment below, I'd love to hear. Until next time, enjoy the use of these products if you do decide to buy them, and stay strong, stay super.